it's Tree. This is gonna be a very relaxed kind of video. So, a few months ago, I set some goals for 2021. I set a few goals for 2022, and ever since then, I've completely forgotten about them. I'm very sorry, I completely forgot. But anyway, I recently got a comment, and they were like, "This is some good goals." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I set some of those." I mean, I've been working on them, but also I didn't really realize I've been working on them. But the only one I neglected was that I wanted to redraw the first few pages of chapter 1. And I don't know, it's been a long time since I've drawn any of these characters in a major way. I did make a few videos of me watercolor painting some stuff, but yeah, that was like a while ago. So now I feel like the characters are going to look really different, and that's not exactly a bad thing, because the only reason I'm redrawing these pages is so that way if I ever want to print them, they're printable, because they're all the same after this. You know, they're the same size, not different sizes. Because I'm pretty sure when you look on Tapas and stuff right now, it's very obvious that they don't quite look the same as the other pages, like lengthwise. Like there's a very clear difference. But I'm coming back to my goals, don't worry. I've forgotten about them, but we're working, and we're gonna do it. Hi, it's me, boo. Ugh. I also forgot to introduce this video. Excuse me, been a long time. But what's going on in the background is I'm working on Volume 1, Chapter 3, page 6 and 7. We're basically finishing those pages up with coloring and shading, and that's what's going on in the background. So I guess I can segue this conversation into what it's like falling off from your goals and then picking them back up. So one of the things that I tend to do is that I record my goals in some place, whether that's me talking about it here on YouTube, or whether that's physically writing them down. And I mean, I happen to do both, but whichever works for you is something that you should definitely do. So that way you're aware of what goals that you're working on. And then once you fall off the horse, so to speak, there the goals are. They're right there. You just have to look back and see exactly what the goals were. So, for example, these goals that I'm working on currently are my 6-month goals from March to October of this year. You don't have to set 6-month goals. I have a video about setting goals, so if you need help setting goals, you can look at that. But sometimes after you've not looked at your goals for a while, you can look at some of these and be like, I worked a little bit on this one that's not completely forgotten about. So for example, in March I wanted to finish my current sketchbook, and I've already done that, and it says maybe 2 if I could finish 2, and I've already done that. Sometimes you set goals and you're already working on them, and now that you've fallen off the horse, it's like, hey, I finished this goal, and that feels really good. But if you're in the same boat as me, where I set the goal to redraw the first few pages of chapter 1 of Wakefield, and I hadn't worked on these at all, you start setting time into your schedule to start working on those goals. That way, even though you forgot about them, there's still a chance you can finish them. Now, let's say you set 6 months goals like I did, and the 6 months have already passed. Maybe it's time to reevaluate and take those old goals and make some new ones. That even though you failed at some of them, it's not that big of a deal because these goals are just for you. And even though you're picking back up on those goals and working on them all over again, it's not that big of a deal, I feel like. I just think it's really important not to really beat yourself up when you don't complete goals or if you don't finish anything, because sometimes that work isn't exactly wasted. You still put time and effort and practice into it and you love it a lot, so that's not time wasted. Another thing is, if you forgot about that goal and then you're looking at it and you realize, I didn't finish this goal because it's a lot of work, it's going to take me a long time. Maybe that long time doesn't fit into a year or 6 month time span. And again, I feel like that's time to reevaluate and reset your goals and maybe break that project down into simpler steps so that way it's more possible to accomplish those goals. Another case I feel like is that you didn't work on this goal, but now you don't want to do that goal anymore, and it's completely fine to just drop off goals that you didn't want to do anymore and don't want to complete anymore. Like I said, it's not a waste of time, but also you shouldn't force yourself to complete something that you don't want to complete. I just don't feel like it's really productive to force yourself to doing things you don't want to do. Because you're just going to be miserable the entire time, and I feel like people can tell when you're miserable, even though you might not look like it, you know. It's possible to tell, so just don't force yourself to complete something that you don't want to complete. Another important thing about forgetting your goals is that you shouldn't beat yourself up over not completing them. How do I word this? It's not a bad thing you forgot about them. And sometimes that can motivate you to complete them even more in some cases. And in other cases, if you don't want to do them, it kind of saves you that time and effort in a way. So far we've talked about if you've forgotten about your goals, you need to set aside time to work on them. If the goal's too big, you need to reevaluate them. And sometimes those goals are already finished and you shouldn't have to worry about them in the first place. But I feel like another important thing to mention is that sometimes taking a break from your projects and your things is good, because you can look at those projects with fresh, like brand new eyes, so to speak, and everything looks way different than when you set those goals, you know. Say your comic work, you wanted to finish a chapter and you didn't finish it, and now it's halfway there. You can see easily how much you've improved within that time that you weren't working on your goals. And another thing is that, like, if you're writing a story, sometimes that time away gives you a new perspective and you're like, I don't like this scene as much as I thought I did. And now you kind of have like that opportunity to rewrite that scene even better, where you're like, I was very upset with how this scene was written and now I really like it, and that's a good thing too. But I think that's all the advice I can give you today about forgetting your goals, what that feels like, and what you can do to pick them back up. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble for however long this video is. I'm going to try my best to make some more content for YouTube, but we'll see how that goes. I'm very slow at making content for YouTube because I get embarrassed about recording my voice, and then I forget how to do it and what it's like, so, But yes, I am trying. Subscribe here for the infrequent updates, I guess, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!